Please go and check out my Telegram channel. The link is below because that's where you're going to be able to get all the extra detail that you can't get here. I'll see you there. Hello, beautiful starseeds and light workers. I'm Alexander Quinn, Starseed Navigating the Light. And today, well, actually for me, it's the evening, but I messaged this very gorgeous man with a very gorgeous beard. You know, he's got a huge personality. He's got a big heart. Michael DellaRocca from YouTube channel Art Everyday Lives. I mean, he's got about 60,000 subscribers. You know, he's a bit of a heartthrob. He's got that gorgeous smile and a Captain America in the background. I absolutely love him. He started his channel about a year before I did, and I was watching him, and then I started my channel. So for those of you who don't know, we have a lot of crossover. We talk about ETs, energies, solar flashes, things like that, things coming up. And in this interview, we will have to be super careful with what we say. I know that you, Michael, you know about that, but thank you so much for coming on today. I messaged you on LinkedIn about 10 minutes ago, and you came back within 10 minutes and said, well, it's just, I'll say it in your voice. Well, like in the New York voice, I got like, I can do it. And like, why not? Like, you know, let's, like, the moment is here. So let's do it. Like, and there's like, boom, now here we are. So usually there's like a couple of days notice I'm in, but it's such a joy to connect to you because I've seen a lot of your videos and you got a real, you know, you're a real heartthrob in the spiritual community. And you make these videos where you're like in front of the ocean and the sea and everything, and it's wonderful. So I just wanted to know, how did you get into the whole thing before we even get into next month or whatever and all? You know, how did you start this whole process?
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you. You know, it just really shows how, you know, when I started this in one of my first videos, and some people might have thought I was crazy, and I talked about vibrational synchronization, and it's just it's a natural energy and how we came together. And, you know, it's just wonderful. And, you know, this really is the, real life example of the power of now and authenticity, because we just put this together 10 minutes ago and we're just going to go with it. And that's where we're headed towards. Like when you're authentic, it just shows, right? We don't need a teleprompter. You know, those people that have a teleprompter, and you can just speak from the heart. But yeah, many years ago, you know, my background is in science. And I expanded my consciousness on Nikola Tesla and the 528 hertz frequency, the miracle tone. And, you know, these are a lot of concepts and whatever you'd like to call them, metaphysical concepts or scientific and spirituality kind of put together, that it's kind of shoved off on the side, and you're not going to find these things. And you're going to have to go on a journey and figure these things out on your own. And when I, you know, also having a science background, learned about the 528 hertz frequency, and I started investigating. And that's why I named the channel Our Everyday Lives, because you have to have firsthand experience and you actually have to apply these things to your real life. And if you just learn about these things and you just, you know, kind of put it in the drawer and you don't deal with it, it doesn't do anything for you. For example, if I learned about the 528 hertz frequency and I said, oh, that's nice, and I just went to the next thing, but I actually slept with it on, I experimented with it, I saw how my body reacted to it. And then all of a sudden, you know, and especially how YouTube works, the algorithms, then new things start popping up on your feed, and maybe that's how I came across you. And you know, it's a wonderful thing, and it's bringing us all together. But you just become so grateful, and you say, "Wow, like this is so interesting." And I love to hammer down how you can take these concepts and apply it to everyday life. How you could be a common person, right? Like some people might see me or hear my Brooklyn accent and not expect spirituality. And I say to people, you don't have to be sitting there and meditating and, you know, have a robe on. And this is where we're going to in the future. We're all going to be in this together, and it's going to become part of our lives. And I'm very grateful to be with you today.
Well, it's as I say, it's absolute pleasure. I mean, how? I mean, you was. I mean, you were telling me just before we came on that. You take this very seriously, as I take this very seriously. I mean, we do this for a living, and what I think people don't see sometimes is that there are major sacrifices that people like me and you take in order to do this for a living. I mean, it's like you were saying that there was a role that you sacrificed in order not to do this. And there are things I've done, and people forget sometimes. It's this is we're fully embodying our mission. When we're doing this, and it's a big deal. Now, for me, it's a little bit more the ETs and the Ascended Master stuff, and but when you're getting stuff through, is it more like your higher self or like an intuitive thing? Is that where it started?
Tesla said, I'm the observer, and I just observe things. And, people always ask me, do you channel? I just observe and I kind of process and I put things together. And then like, there's certain things like I'm just drawn to. It's just certain, like I could hear things or like a bell, like ringing inside me, resonance, if you will. Like there's a knowing that I know this is important. Mike, pay attention to this. This is what we need to focus on. I was actually talking about it on my live stream today. Like many people, they have maybe abilities, they see auras, right? They could hear spoken word. I'm not like that. I've maybe had some very, very, very small experiences over the course of my journey, but it's just a resonance. And it really is the vibrational synchronization that I spoke about. You're becoming in alignment with God, and then God is going to protect you. And once you align yourself with that, all these doors open. And I was able to say no to the mark of the beast, because years ago, for free, I went out there and I started to teach people, because I just felt like these are things that people need to learn. And why aren't we learning about these things? And for years, I did videos just to do videos, kind of like you, right? You're called to do these things. And now we're in the position. So I'm just being a real life example for people. A lot of people say, they feel like they have to bow down to the system. And, it is overwhelming. And I've been there, and I'm sure you've been there as well. There's so many things that we were brought up with. Oh, this is real. No, it's not real. And we can't blame our brothers and sisters because they were born into a prison, just like how we all signed up for this, right? And I'm sure you're familiar with Dolores Cannon, as you just said, the waves of volunteers. And if you're tuning into this, we came here to bust y'all out of prison. That's what we came here to do. And you have to be strong at this time. Like we all get our anxieties, and I share about anxiety. So many people have anxiety right now. Even myself, I still go through it. What's anxiety? It's fear of the future. We're stepping into the unknown right now. That's also associated to the divine feminine that's coming back on this earth, right? It's uncomfortable, even for me, right? So we're as I spoke about on my live stream today, we're balancing out. We're balancing out these energies, and that's how we're expanding, and we're letting go of the past, right? So we were given subconscious programs, and this is how I have to be, and this is how I have to act. And guess what? There's even people in the spiritual community that want to tell you how to act, right? But we could just be who we are, right? You could be who you are. I could be who I am, and that's it. We don't have to fit a certain role, right? We don't have to fit a certain criteria. And that's why I really hammer home the Hopi prophecy, Rainbow Warriors, because we're all different. We're all different colors, classes, and creeds, and we came here for a common mission. And in the Bible, they talked about that this enemy, it's about principalities in a different dimension, if you will. And that's what we're here. We're here to clear these principalities and allow people to take back their power.
So, what I particularly like about a friend of mine now called Kimberly Palm, who's an angelic channel and does various bits and pieces. She sent me one of your videos about a month ago. In April, when the energies were just, overbearing.
It's a rough April.
It was overbearing. I mean, for
Yeah.
people, you know, people who are sensitives.
Yeah.
You know, people think that I make videos, but I watch people in the community. I watch your channel. I watch other people as well. You know, I'm constantly learning as well. I don't ever think that I have this completely figured out, although I'm maybe a little bit ahead of a few people because I've been doing it since 2012. But there was a video you made not that long ago about the April energies. And I think you were sitting on your porch or you were sitting outside of a building. And I think we had like a KP index like of 7. There was some like unbelievably strong energies coming in. And I was thinking one night, like, I felt like I was going to pass out. It was so strong. And I was watching one of your videos and you were just, it was so beautiful because you were so vulnerable and you were talking through it and you were saying, you know, no one's invincible to this stuff. And I know I'm not either. And I see people like Laurie Ladd and other people who are in the community. And I never once have I ever said that, you know, I'm invincible to these energies and things, because I feel them just like everyone else. And what I love about your videos when I watch your channel is you're saying the same thing. You know, we're all going through the same thing. It's just like some of us are leaders and we just feel it a little bit before the collective and we're just a little bit better at handling it and things like that. But I love your honesty. And I think that's so beautiful about you. And just out of interest, just for people watching this, I love your intro. Can you do the intro? Can you do your famous intro, please?
You gotta put me on the spot now.
Please, can you do your famous intro? Can you do it?
Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
I'm Michael.
I am Michael.
Can you do it? Can you do it?
Hello, everyone. I am Michael, and I help guide people on the evolutionary journey. And when I opened with that years ago, you know, I really wanted to, I thought, and I said, you know, it's a mix of science and spirituality, and we're evolving. We're evolving while we're alive. We're doing the origins of the opening of our,
Sure.
our everyday lives. Why'd you come up with it? Because it's our evolutionary journey. We're not waiting thousands of years right now. Evolution is happening while you're alive. And that's why you feel like shift right now, right? I say shift because, you know, anyway,
Shift, yeah.
You feel like that. You're evolving while you're alive. So it's actually a beautiful segue, right? It's beautiful, the synergy over here. Linear time is fake, as you just said. You know, when you're in alignment, when you make this free will decision, God knows you're out there sharing with people. So you might experience something, and that's why I present from a place of authenticity. Like something's happening, it's not going to happen at this moment, on this day, at this hour, right? So I might be feeling something, and some people might feel it a couple of days later, and there might be people that feel it before me, but it's in the same vicinity. It's not like I feel it now and then 3 weeks from now, it's in the same vicinity. That's the shift. Linear time is fake, just like a lot of things that are fake out there, right? Yeah. So the Schumann resonance was off the chart that day when you saw me speak about that. And that's why nothing can stop this. So this light, whatever you like to refer to, the light of Christ, the solar flash, it's coming. And if you're new to me, if you're new to what I'm sharing, you've been lied to your entire life because you don't have junk DNA. 93% of the function of DNA is light and sound reception and transmission. So I'm going to feel it. I'm not above. That's why I said I'm not, you know, people, he's so strong, you know, and then I'm on the couch. I'm like feeling the ascension. I'm like down on the couch.
Don't worry, I am too. I am too. I'm busy. Just last night, we had a massive wave come in just last night. But actually, we're getting different types of energies coming in from old sunspots that are reactivating. And in May, instead of these massive whoppers like the X-class flares and the KP7s and all the rest of it, we're going to get a lot more residual background stuff. But it's instead of ups and downs, it's going to be constant.
Right.
And I was lying in bed just last night, and a wave hit, and a wave hit about 2, 3 in the morning, and I woke up, and then my partner woke up next to me, and we were both awake all night long. And I leaned over to my partner. I said, a wave just hit us. I could feel it. And I looked up and I looked at the Schumann, all the rest of it. And there it was. And I particularly love your videos as well, because you follow the Schumann Resonance quite a lot. Is that something you did straight from the start, or?
Yeah, I just felt, my first video, I just taught what the Schumann Resonance is, right? And it's a tangible thing. A lot of people think all these things, it's just spiritual mumbo jumbo stuff, right? But when you look at the Schumann Resonance, and that's why I take so much pride in it, because I want to have something that's tangible. Because I know we're going into the divine feminine, and we're going, but people want to have a little bit of evidence. Yeah, it's true. That's what it is. I want to have the evidence too. A lot of people, I always share what my Nana taught me: a time for this and a time for that. It's balance. It's hemisync. So there's spirituality, but there needs to be a little bit of evidence as well. I like to have a little bit of evidence, not just, go, free willy with everything. So when the Schumann Resonance, you have a spike, and then I share with people, you have these ascensions. You might wake up in the middle of the night. You might feel lousy, tired, so on and so on. And then all of a sudden, these people that they're not on the spiritual journey, they have no clue and they said, oh yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's the best. That's when I see that's what brings, lights me up, because it's about taking the next wave, these next people that are waking up, because everyone's going to wake up. That's why nothing will stop this. Regardless, in the end of all of this, whatever you want to call it, the event, the rapture, the apocalypse, everyone left will wake up. And it's such a wonderful thing to see, like a person that they're not spiritual. They're just like, oh yeah, bro, I felt that. It's like, so that's what I like to do, because, I live that way. I always, I had these, the whole light worker thing. I had these thoughts and imagination and stuff as a kid, but, and I go amongst the people, and it's so great to see people that are like, they're totally not into it. That's what I like the best, actually. Totally not into it. Say, yeah, I do feel that. And now you just cracked open that pineal gland a little bit, that little crack. You just need a little crack, a little bit. And I say, it's all about first, you need something, that firsthand experience. Like for me, like I just shared earlier, I listened to the 5-2. When I share about this, I used to have chronic fatigue. I used to be tired all the time. Went to the doctor, everything's perfect, blah, 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 you're fine, but tired. And I started listening to the 528 hertz when I was sleeping at night. And literally, like within a week, I saw a decent improvement. Within 2 weeks, I was like, wow, and because we're not sleeping efficiently, our pineal glands are calcified, and we have to make changes. And it's no one's fault, because these were subconscious programs. Oh, you have to eat this, you have to work, you have to do, live. We were doing all the wrong things because everything was inverted, which is known as Luciferian. Yeah, you might be new to this, right? It's Luciferian. And people say, oh, what do you mean it's a spiritual war? What do you mean it's biblical? It doesn't mean that there's a red dude with a pitchfork and the horns running around. It's turned upside. It's literally backwards. It's backwards. It's backwards world. And that's why we came in here to turn it back up.
Sound background. You know what you're saying about the inverted matrix. It's very, very important that we do mention the inverted matrix, because in May, we're going to be dealing with the wounded inner child. We're going to be dealing with a lot of shadow. Now, because in April, our bodies have been filled with so much light intensity that actually our body can't hold any dense vibrations. So it needs to purge it out. What I see happening in May is that we're going to be purging a lot of shadow in May. And it's very interesting what you're saying about the inverted matrix, because in an inverted matrix, you're not allowed to feel, you're not allowed to be depressed, you're not allowed to have shadow, you're not allowed to be intuitive, you're not allowed to have any type of feeling, whether it's light or dark and anything. And if you do, an external influences to come in, either as a pharmaceutical company or as a drug, and numb you and dumb you down, all the rest of it. And actually, what I think was really beautiful about some of the things, especially what's going on in May, but in general, it's a beautiful thing to be able to look at your shadow, be vulnerable, and flip it. And actually, it's okay to go through the shadow and the process, because it's not something that is personal. We're going through an ascension process. But in an old energy, an ascension process was not allowed. You're not allowed to feel down. You're not allowed to say this. You're not allowed to have feeling. You're not allowed, there's something wrong with you. So I totally agree with, when you're saying that everything is inverted, you're not allowed to feel, but feeling is where intuition is. Feeling is where your third eye is, all these things. So it is a very important statement that you did make about the inverted thing.
Yeah, but the good thing is, like, we're seeing the shift in reality now, like in whatever we want to call it, mainstream terms. We hear the term mental health awareness, right? And I share all about that a lot. So people are being aware of this. If we're familiar with the Hermetic principles, everything is mental. So if you have negative thoughts, right, it's something can hurt you. Even though it really can't hurt you, it will hurt you, because you have its Hermetic principles. Everything is mental. So in science, it's called the nocebo effect, right? And a lot of people, they see a lot of fear out there, right? You see a lot of fear about something, right? Oh, it's going to make you sick, right? And it's called the nocebo effect. If you believe it, it will actually affect your cells that way. A lot of people are familiar with the placebo effect. Right. And like, say, for example, in a study, they give a person a sugar pill and there's no medicine in it. The person gets healthy because of the biology of belief. I'm very grateful for Dr. Bruce Lipton. I'm the science guy, the science spirituality guy. Right. So Dr. Bruce Lipton, he's the doctor that paved the way. It's, when I hear about these things, epigenetics above genetics. Did you know your DNA, your genes could be edited? Oh, yeah. So now we're waking up to these things, right? So whether it's good or bad, that's why you saw me recently changing up my neuroplasticity, my surroundings. Our surroundings affect our DNA. It's taking in light and sounds. So everything, any external thing can actually influence your health. And that's how we're bringing this all together. So, and in the past, we didn't have this. And they that's why everything was inverted and hidden, half truths, all that stuff.
Yeah. and I noticed there was a blonde woman in your videos. Is that your other half? Is she spiritual as well?
Ireland, yeah. It's an interesting journey, if you like to call it the twin flame journey. It's you meet people on your journey, and they level you up. And it could be, tough. It could be easy. It could be love. It could be like putting you out of your comfort zone, right? And it's really divine, and it's done for a reason. It's done to level you up. So the earth is, there's a lot of craziness right now, and I'm very grateful to have met someone like that, someone so special. I could share so many special times with. Right now I'm alone while I'm making this, right? And that's why, even till today, over the course of my life, and as Nikola Tesla said, be alone. That's where ideas are born. So we actually have to.
Absolutely.
I was alone. I've been alone 99% of my life. I've been alone. But that's, you have to, now we're going into a different topic, but if you're going to find a love, if you're going to find a partner, if you're going to find a twin flame, whatever it is that you're looking for, you have to be strong within. The other person can't complete you. And we could see it's a wonderful dance, and it's mirroring back and forth. And, it really is an interesting part of our journey, especially for me. Because like I said, I've always been alone. So now it's like, it's getting me out of my comfort zone, and I have to learn new things. And okay, this is what we do. And, and what do you, and you have someone to piggyback information back and forth with. And, now whether we do it over the phone or whatever, it's so good to have that, but not everyone has that. So I always want, when I do my channel, it's for all people. So whether you're alone, whether you have someone, whether you're separated, there's all many different things. As my Nana said, there's a time for this and a time for that. But I don't know if you know, we're in World War III. So it's you have to go with the flow. There is no this is right. I'm on a schedule. I need to be in a relationship. I don't have to be in a. Just go with it. And take one day at a time, and you'll be surprised with the miracles that it's a miracle, miracles that God has in store for you.
I know a lot of people in the spiritual community, both men and women, who they come in, I would say, fully embodied, and they do not necessarily need another person to feel connected or to feel whole. They come in whole straight away. And there's a lot of people like that in our community who are black sheep, loners. They need a lot of that time to themselves, to their spiritual work. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there. And society seems like, they're strangers on the edge. I mean, I'm a little bit like that. Mm-hmm. It used to be the old woman on the edge of town who was like the voodoo priestess or something, on the edge of the swamp, and people would go out when there was a problem, and they'd be, and now it's like people like me and you on YouTube, and it's but we still have that thing where, to some degree, yes, we have partners and all the rest of it, but we come in, we're warriors. It's almost like we're on a singular mission, and we love people around us, but we also love a lot of time and space on our own, and that's where the intuition the quiet time, the time on your own, the intuition, and I get that. That's where I get my best inner spiritual growth and work done, when I'm by myself for long periods of time, especially, and people will get bored of hearing this, but when I'm at the heart center, the heart chakra of Earth, at the epicenter, at the Glastonbury tour, on that 900-year-old monastery on the hill, and that's where I like to sit and meditate for long periods of time, for days on end. And so, do you ever go to certain monuments and things where you are? One thing I noticed about your videos is that there's a really beautiful lake where you go and film. Where is that?
Well, you'd be surprised. It's in Brooklyn. But just to go through everything you just said, the awakening, it's done alone. And like you're talking about, people might feel like an outcast. For years, I spent alone in my old job. Like we would get like a week off. I never had a girlfriend or a wife, or I was alone. So what that did, it gave me an opportunity. I sat there and I started learning these things, however it started. In the summer, I was off and I was learning about Tesla and the frequencies. And then one time I'm going through 9/11, then another time I'm going through the Mandela effect. I said, oh, this Mandela effect sounds interesting. Let me just check it out. And then I said, oh my God, I don't know if you know this, but if you want to wake someone up, introduce them to the Mandela effect. It'll wake them up. But yeah, so I wouldn't have been able to do all those things, if I didn't have time for myself. And all the times, like in the past, I would complain, say, oh, why am I alone? But I was alone for a reason, and it actually saved my life, right? So we could say no to the mark of the beast. And we can move forward, and by serving God, it creates a positive feedback loop. That's why I don't care. I don't have to go bow down to the matrix. I don't have to go bow down to a system. I came here to break the system. So did you. And we're building our new system. It's a new system we're building, and we're almost seeing like there's dual society, and then it'll fall, and then it'll remain. But it's a lot of pain. It's a birthing pain right now. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. Wow, I'm going to leave what was familiar and comfortable, and now I'm going to do it myself. Right. So, it's like whatever the water wings when you're learning to swim, and now you got to swim without them.
Identity crisis, ego identity crisis, major ascension birthing symptoms. Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I go to different, like there's I think you talk about the salt marsh. the creek, we call it over here, but I love the beach. Ever since I was a child, I always loved the beach. I was probably very drawn to Atlantis. I was probably there. And, I'm probably here to make it right this time. We have one chance at this. And, but I always feel home at the beach and all the BS, right? The belief systems. Years ago, even I want to be, don't go in the sun. You like my tan, right? It'll age you, right? I look real old now, right? It's really sick how everything is turned upside down. The sun gives everything life on the earth, right? But for you, it's going to make you sick, though, right? That's how it works.
Well, that's where we're getting our light codes from, especially from the great central sun.
Yeah.
You know, we only just literally decided we were going to do this like half an hour ago, and I wanted to make this short and sweet and beautiful, and it's just been so much fun just to have a general chat. I was saying before we came on, usually I have a preempt and I know what I'm going to talk about. This time it was just a joy just to connect to someone who we have a lot of crossover work. Our channels do and say a lot of things. I watched you before I even started a YouTube channel, so I've looked up to you for a little bit, and obviously I love your beard. So, but is there anything you'd like to, Michael? Is there anything you'd like to finish on or conclude on, or anything?
Yeah, just like what you just talked about. We are the 144,000. We're the warriors of the rainbow, whatever you'd like to call it. There's many different cultures that spoke about this time, and you're my brother. And, we might not have known each other in this life, but I'm very sure that we've known each other in the past. And, it's just hearing that, I know that I did my job. Like if you saw like that's what I want to do for people. Like even like being in that worthless system and seeing like everything's wrong and you're so afraid to speak up. Ooh, what are they going to say about me if I say these things? And that's why I come real strong. Right? Some people, well, he's not that spiritual. He's, I'm kind of a little rough on the edges, but that's the light of Christ. That's the warriors that we are. Because if I don't do that and I don't just bulldoze my way through, I'm just trying to show like maybe you saw something and you said, wow, it's okay for me to say this. That was like the thing I wanted to do. And I had I was very blessed to have the career that I had, and I was able to meet so many people and families and parents and children. And now I'm paying it forward. And we have to say enough is enough. And people would always say, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Oh, you're great. And not be afraid. Don't be afraid. If you're watching this right now, you have two people here and they started a mission, and, we don't have to be exactly the same, and we do things a different way, but you need to do what calls you. And I don't even know what I'm going to do next, maybe next week I'm going to switch it up again. But at the time, like if a person goes through my channel, our channel, right. And you take it in 3-month blocks or 6-month blocks, you could see like the energy changes. I'm going a different way. And then I'm changing all what I'm doing. I started those original videos on the beach, the camera, and then eventually I have to evolve. Then I did a live stream. Then I did interviews, right? Then you have to switch it up. So, it means a lot that you say those very kind words. And if anyone that's watching, I hope that you're motivated to do this yourself. And don't worry about satanic mocking. That's the system, right? Like the Matrix, right? They try to protect the system themselves. But speak up and do what calls you, do what you love. And if you listen to other people, you might lose. Regret is worse than failure. And neither one of us failed. We're both here. We're both standing, but I guarantee you, we would have had a lot of regret if we said, well, I'm afraid to do this. I'm sure your very first video, you're kind of nervous, right? You're kind of nervous to do that.
I get nervous before every reading. I get nervous before I went on with Nick Veniamin tonight, and I was doing some readings on there. I get nervous like all the time because I'm always apprehensive because I want to be giving my best. I'm always a little
Yeah.
bit nervous. I never don't get that. I always have
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
I'm hoping it will go, but it's not gone yet.
Yeah, it'll go. It always never, it depends where you're comfortable, but sometimes you come out of your comfort zone, right? And that's neuroplasticity, right? We create new neural pathways in our brain by trying something new, and eventually, things change. And there's plenty of things that I get nervous about, and there's, this is actually easy. I've been sharing recently, and you've been, sharing all of the traumas and the craziness out there. The like years ago when I first did my first live stream or my videos, what was in the past, that was the nervous part. Now it's the comfortable part. Now it's scary out. It's scary out there now.
Well,
so,
I mean, it's scary for a lot of light workers because they have, the problem is not the fear of the dark anymore. The problem now is the fear of the light for the light workers, because now it's here.
Yeah.
Now the energy's arrived, and some of them don't know what to do with it. And the energies are so intense that if they're not in flow state and non-judgment and stuff, it can throw them. And I was there more like 2012, but the fear of the light for the light workers, if it's something we've got to get them through, because the energies are intense, and sometimes we don't know what to do with them, and we feel them before the collective. And the star seeds and the light workers are going to go through this before the collective, because we have to hold the light for them.
Yeah.
I live in Canary Wharf. That's an area in East London where we have all the banks and the big financial systems. Some of the big banks and the biggest banks in the world are outside the wall right here. Mm-hmm. And people say, Alexander Quinn, how on earth did you arrive there? That's a story for another time. But I was driving around Canary Wharf in my Mini. I've got a Mini, and I was looking at all the office workers in the buildings, in the banks, because all banks around here. And I was thinking to myself, we talk about all the 3D folks and the lower astral people and all that, and we're holding like we're doing all the hard work, but at the same time, but something interesting crossed my mind is that, actually a lot of these folks who are not having a spiritual awakening are still holding some critical things together, some systems that we still need in order to actually survive. So I think there really is some interesting things going on. We're all doing our bit in the big jigsaw puzzle, because I guess if all the banks and everything collapse all like tomorrow, it might be a little bit of a shock to the system. So we've got to get out of it slowly. So yeah, I'm thankful for all of the people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, we want it now. We want it now. But there is we all feel like, I think I have a plan, like, why is this taking so long? But it's probably being done divinely, because we're trying not to have chaos as we go through this. So yeah,
Michael, DellaRocca, I would like to thank you for your time. I will put your link down below in the video description. Our Everyday Lives. Guys, if you want to see a really good-looking spiritual guy in front of a lake talking about awesome stuff, go and check him out. I'm Alexander Quinn, Starseed Navigating the Light. Michael, thank you for doing your famous intro. I love that.
Thank you so much for having me.